Jenny-Jaymes and my sidekick Christian Cano, partner in crime, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen's sidekick. Welcome to Two Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you.
Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, everybody. It is Pride Month, International Pride Month, and this is Two Queers in a Truck, so we get extra blingy. We had a little paint going on there, and some big old Mondo glasses there. Again, breaking out the Elton John collection. And for people that listen to us but don't watch us, I'm Christian, our podcast partner here, has some very blingy pink with bedazzled front, massive sunglasses. They look great on you. Pink's a good color on Christian, actually.
That's right.
It always makes me sad that a lot of men won't wear pink.
Some people look really good in pink.
I find that most men actually look really good in pink. The peach colors, and the purples and stuff like that. I love a man that will wear colored, accessories or shirts or whatever. I mean, it's not one of the topics today, but some clothes and some items are girls' colors. I think is probably one of the stupidest ideas ever, because it just stifles creativity and fashion. And honestly, cheats some men out of really peacocking. I mean, there's some men out there that are some big old queens. But anyway, I am Jenny-Jaymes. God, this is Two Queers in the Truck. And speaking of queens, how are you doing, Christian?
Good. Happy Pride, boo.
Yeah, happy Pride. It's Pride International Pride Month. And there's Pride events celebrated actually all around the world. And in Europe and Africa, every continent except for Antarctica has some kind of pride event. It's going on sometime in the month. Of course, the big ones here in the United States, obviously some of the granddaddies like New York City Pride and LA Pride and San Francisco Pride go on during June. So it's a really busy month. All the big corporations all break out the rainbows and the glitter at least till July 1st. And then the LGBTQIA community is stuffed once again back into the dusty holiday box to be not seen again or talked about in a positive way till the next June 1st. But yeah, I kind of equate our community to almost be the holiday decorations of communities where they like going to our events year round, but they don't really want to dust us off. Like it's like breaking out the Christmas decorations too early.
Yeah.
You're breaking them out in October before Halloween is the way we're. Oh, no, we talk about queer stuff only in June.
Yeah.
Our diversity inclusion manager can only talk about that June 1st. And we'll hang on. It's only May 20th and we're a little early. Don't want to get the 10% of the fringe too mad too early. But anyway, our first topic is the HRC declares a national state of emergency for the LGBT community this week. Obviously, we taped this a week in advance, so this is the week of June 7th. This won't air for the first time until June 14th, so this will already be a week old, as is most of the stories we talk about. But some facts about the LGBT community, especially here in the United States. 1 in 10 adults identify as LGBTQIA worldwide. So if it's 1 in 10, it's probably more like about 1 in 8, 1 in 7. So that's a big population when you're thinking about, 330 million Americans, and probably 270, 280 are actually adults. That's 28, 30 million. I mean, that's the population of Texas. It would be like the whole population of Texas being gay. Wouldn't that be fun? But but also, we've been under attack this year. What's precipitated this announcement is that 75 laws in over a dozen states, actually about 22 states, have been passed that were LGBTQIA, specifically targeting mostly the drag community or the trans youth community. And 31% of trans teens between 13 and 17 now cannot access any kind of gender affirming care in the United States as of right now. Now, that's changing. A lot of these bigoted laws are actually getting thrown out of court as we speak. The Tennessee drag bill just got defeated. The Florida law, and I'll get to this in a moment, it's actually one of my sections, and I will read what the judge said. And he very much openly chastised the Florida legislature and the governor in his ruling. Was very specific on how he did this law. It was a flat out scolding, like, you don't need to be doing this. This is stupid. And the Tennessee law in particular, one of the reasons the judge struck it down, not just because it was unconstitutional, but he didn't like the vagueness of the law. He said this doesn't serve any public interest whatsoever, and the vagueness was problematic. Something that we've talked about, and using these anti-drag bills because they're so vague, and it also covers like cross-dressing, crossing gender lines, is how you could report a butch-looking woman, like a Republican woman in a business suit type thing.
A man in a toupee. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where does it stop? Yeah. I mean, men wear hair pieces / wigs all the time. Men wear makeup for different reasons all the time. A lot of times in the studio lights, they've got to put makeup on them. Is that drag? Well, according to the law, it is. And if a kid sees it, they just committed a felony. And so where do you stop? Do you turn in every news station in Tennessee? So they're all performing drag in some form. You got men wearing makeup. You got women wearing slacks. Is that not cross-dressing? Is that not drag? Because what they're really trying to do is hurt the trans community as much as the drag community, because they're trying to outlaw inappropriate clothes, and inappropriate's deemed as not wearing what you were assigned at birth, matching what you're wearing. And so you're somebody that's 50 years old and is trans and is wearing a dress, but 50 years ago, boom, some obstetrician said, oh, a boy, only because the only outward sign of gender and sex was the stem on the apple.
Hey, Jen,
you place all of your identity on plumbing.
Yeah. This is another one of those hypocritical things. And whenever people ask, well, what's one of the tests to show that it's kind of a hateful, hypocritical type of law, is just look at the people that support this and what they're messaging. One of the things that I've noticed, especially like with Caitlyn Jenner and some of the real far right, Nikki Haley and some of these other kind of individuals, they've been using these talking points over the last couple of months that say that transgender athletes and trans kids in schools is the biggest affront to women's rights in the history of women. So basically what they're saying is that it is misogynistic for people to dress in drag. They're starting to use these feminist terms, okay? Because they think that they're going to win over some middle of the road people. when you ask these people, if you're so for feminists, if you're really a feminist, then why aren't you against you being able to wear pants or wear a suit or wear, and it shows you that they're really not interested in being feminists. They're just interested in using the terms to kind of make them sound a little bit more normal.
Right. And that's the key. These are very abnormal fringe people. These are not regular Americans. These aren't the Republican Party that's being led by these fringe people, these kooks, these people that are so afraid of wearing a mask and I don't know, taking a little Fauci ouchie. They're so petrified to do things that are normal. Like, or if they're really feminists, then why are they eradicating abortion?
Yeah.
Why have they spent 50 years trying to eradicate reproductive rights for women then? They're trying to take away birth control. They're trying to take away abortion. I'm pretty sure taking away all women's options, especially in critical times of need to save their own lives. I'm pretty sure that doesn't classify them as feminists. I don't know, call me kooky. Yeah. Same people that are writing these anti-drag, anti-trans, anti-LGBT laws is feminist my ass. And you can judge somebody by their actions. Don't listen to their words. Judge them by their actions. Ask Tim Scott where he stands on abortion. And if you even get an answer out of him, if he doesn't stutter and stammer, Nikki Haley the same way, big feminist Nikki Haley that's against abortion, or at least abortion for people that don't have money and access. It's kind of amazing how the feminism just kind of washes away. It's feminist washing is what it is. And they think women in general are stupid, when really they're just stupid, and their base of that 10% of Americans is so stupid that you can say hi to them and stump them for an answer. Newsom doubles down on Dick Suckus about the migrant flights. So Dick Suckus has sent at least 2 flights of migrants to California, specifically blue cities, unannounced, dumping them in there. And so Newsom is now preparing, along with the state prosecutor, attorney general, preparing a case against Florida. They're actually going to sue Dick Suckus and the GOP and everybody involved with these flights, and possibly criminally prosecute them. And they've got a pretty good case. And it's basically be a case of human trafficking for political reasons, which is highly illegal. And Newsom is doing something that we've always screamed that Democrats need to levy lawsuits. They need to hold Republicans.
Fight back.
Yeah, fight back.
Fight back.
Newsom's done a Newsom's teaching a master class on how a Democratic governor can clap back. And he's not the only one. The governor of Minnesota has done a really good job changing the narrative, and it took recently in the last few months has taken some really hardcore public swipes at Republicans. The governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, has also done a really good job of fighting back. But Newsom in particular, one, because being the governor of California is a very high-profile job. It's usually led to the presidency for many of our former presidencies. And so I love the fact that Newsom is using his wit, his intelligence, and quite frankly, the power of California. And Florida ain't going to win. In a fight between California and Florida, not only in publicity, but just flat out Newsom versus Dick Suckus, there's no contest there.
But you know what he did, Jenny, for me was just an hallelujah. He said what every American has been wanting to call DeSantis. He called him a small, pathetic man.
Yes. Probably one of the best lines. He rolled him better than Trump's been rolling Dick Suckus. And even though I am fond of the meatball, the fact that he calls him a little meatball is pretty brutal. And he is a small, pathetic man. He really, really is. He's controlled by his wife, Casey Dixakis, and she's a crazy evangelical fringe player. And these people are fringe people. You would be embarrassed if they were in your family. You would not want Dick Suckus as your uncle, your creepy uncle that likes hanging out with high school girls.
But you know what they do, Jenny? If you notice, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but
no.
Yes, great topics today, by the way. What they do is, especially the women have started to do what the men used to do back 20 years ago during Jerry Falwell, where they would do this hair that never moved. The women today, the Moms for Liberty women, the Nikki Haley kind of people, they've got this like little bob haircut that they're starting to use to make them look kind of Barbara Bushish, you know? And because they think that that's going to make them come across as like normal suburban women. You know, and you can't be fooled because these are this like Trisha Cotham. She's got this, you know, look that she's got, but hers is kind of over the top. Hers is more drag. But
Trisha Cotham's hair is definitely drag. I mean, including the makeup. The makeup, I mean, you just want to go, yes, Hitler Queen. I mean, and she has more of the late 80s mole hair. You know, the teased up, closer to God, you know, higher the hair. You know, big old drag queen. Like, it looks like a wig. The hair's so bad. It's ought to been hair. Hair that ought to been on a goat's ass. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some more Two Queers in a Truck. Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in a Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye-bye. Happy Pride. Hey, y'all. It's International Pride Month, and I want to wish everybody, our fellow queer neighbors and our allies, a happy Pride Month. Spend money in Target and your local queer Black and brown businesses as well. But happy Pride. Thanks for watching this show, and be safe out there.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, Dave. Hey, y'all, we want to do a special shout out to everybody that is going to celebrate Juneteenth this coming week. We appreciate you as our neighbors, and we hope that all the communities of color have a very happy holiday and a very happy June, and we appreciate you. We see you. Love y'all. Bye. And we are back. And yeah, I mean, you know, and that makeup, it's clear that she's anti-LGBT because she has no gay friends.
Exactly.
They've never let her go out of the house looking like that. They were like, Queen, come on. We got to blend this shit. She looks like a trans woman that just started transitioning and doesn't know how to blend their makeup yet, or a teenage girl. But she cakes it on. When she puts it on,
it's like an 80s, like a late 80s, early 90s kind of look, which is probably the world she still lives in. But, you know,
mentally, when them queers were under control, you know, and we had segregation in some places that we're trying to bring back through school choice. Anyway, interesting note, we don't normally talk about sports on this show. You know,
not foosball.
But no, not even foosball.
Oh my goodness!
It's kind of a sport. It's pro golf, and you know, it is the Live Golf. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right.
That's right.
Based out of Saudi Arabia. That's
Yeah.
been pretty controversial with a lot of white rednecks, because, now they're really concerned about Saudi Arabians and their role in 9/11, even though they didn't seem to care when Bush invaded two other countries. But anyway, several of the really iconic golfers over the last few years have gone over there. Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, and many more have gone over there because, quite frankly, they were throwing around some big paychecks. And people were calling them traitors and pariahs and defectors and all this, even though it's golf. You ride around in golf carts and you slap a little white ball down the fairway, and you play putt fight.
Yeah.
Except missing the clown's mouth. Unless, of course, you're playing golf with Trump. And then the clown's mouth is everywhere that he goes. But now all of a sudden, Live Golf, basically they've merged. It's really Live Golf bought out the PGA properties, the former European golf tour that's now under another name, and I don't remember it. But it's kind of funny now that a bunch of really wealthy brown people, North African people, own the PGA essentially.
I was interesting you say that, Jenny, because when I heard about this, as you mentioned earlier, we taped this a week before. When I heard about this, it broke like early Monday morning. And, my father-in-law, who's 88 years old, still golfs once a week. And I saw him last night, which would be a Tuesday night. And I asked him, and he just kind of looked like he was not happy with this, because not only did he not like the Live group, but the PGA has been saying for the last year how hateful Live is. They're a terrorist back, the money's coming from blood money and we shouldn't support him. And then suddenly overnight, it was like, oh, we're going to partner with him. And what I read was some of the younger, like the Baby Z golfers, are not happy because they stayed with the PGA and they could have gone over for all this big money. And the PGA was saying, nope, we're going to fight for the PGA. We're going to do this. And then suddenly they're like, all right, now we want everyone to be friends, Yeah. And so they feel like they were misled.
Of course, because it was always about the money. First of all, it was never about patriotism. You can't prove your patriotism by slapping a little white ball and wearing ugly pants on a golf course. So there was never, it was about posturing. It was about negotiation. And PGA was going to hold out to the number got right. And then once the number got right, all of a sudden the moral arguments of partnering with a royal family owned property, blood money, and journalists getting beheaded and all that. All of a sudden, like, nah, not that big of a deal, And it's interesting. I scanned Twitter to see some of the reactions under the hashtag Live Golf. And it's kind of interesting because there's people on both sides of the aisle that are kind of bitching about it. And it's because we have this politics of 9/11, and we so deep dicked ourselves on 9/11 that Republicans and Democrats deserve a lot of blame of not only fighting a 20-year stupid war, but funding a financially irresponsible war. And we so went in on the anti-9/11 rhetoric. Is how do you walk that back? How do you?
It's going to be really hard, especially the MAGA crowd, Jen. Especially the MAGA crowd.
But the MAGA crowd, Trump has had this for a while. They've had Live Golf tournaments at Mar-a-Lago for a long time. But
our generation, right. The Gen Xers and the early boomers, the ones that bought into this 9/11, we got to fight the brown people. We got, we don't want them to fly on our flights. These are the people that actually are at the age that follow golf, and they're the people that are now going to have to come to the realization as you mentioned, that this new group is very similar to like when Trump bought Miss Universe. It's like, it's going to change the game. So when you may be at the Masters, which is one of the most prestigious tournaments, and it's all about Southern wealth and all that, but you're no longer the boss. Now the brown people own it. So it's like, the world is changing. So it's kind of a interesting, it's going to be interesting.
It's all fun and games to a person of color calls the shots.
Exactly.
And this is a thing, whether it's the wealth, like conservatives always complain about, well, if we have white privilege, why do, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's kids have so much privilege? Like, if one black family on the entire planet has any kind of wealth or privilege, it totally negates 400 years of insane American racism and slavery and Jim Crow laws. Like, also, that's to get out of jail free because there's a successful black person. And the fact, and I'm not pro Saudi Arabia by any means, they're very problematic. But this has nothing to do with them being problematic or beheading or torturing people or torturing their citizens or anything like that. It's the fact that it's a person of color or a family of color, and then in a foreign country, no less.
In one of the last sports in America, where white America, it's one of the last white American sports, other than hockey. It's one of the last sports in America that people, especially at a certain income level, it's
a very white sport. NASCAR, hockey, and pro tennis are the last bastions of competitive white men. Let's just say what it is the fact that white male golfers are very competitive. They can actually win. And at the heart of this, the people that are complaining about this on the outside of golf. The argument inside golf is a whole different story. The fact that PGA used patriotism and morality to push against the deal, or push against golfers that went over there to competing rival league because they were getting paid. That big Saudi oil money, the trillions of dollars that they pump out of the ground and throw it into events like that, the PGA couldn't compete. They were uncompetitive. Market forces dictated this deal. And once the PGA got the number they wanted and got the deal they wanted, they sold out all that rhetoric at a hot minute. Kind of like Lindsey Graham at a hot dog factory. It was all over but the crime. And just like he'd be ODing on sausages and hot dogs, they're ODing, they're money drunk and dick drunk right now. And that's just all there is to it. Now, getting to the next topic number 4, U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle officially rips Dukakis in the Florida legislature as a lawsuit was brought on by several parents of trans kids in Florida because they took away every bit of the trans-affirming care, including talk therapy. Not only is it illegal and unconstitutional, it's just irresponsible. And that's exactly what the judge said. The judge said, taking away kids' health care because of your bigotry and ideology that's not medically based is just plain stupid. He goes on to shred them, refers to this is thinly veiled bigotry, and the state should not get involved with sound medical practices observed by every major medical governing board in the world. Is basically everything I've said about it is they put in rumors and innuendos. They trot out some people that supposedly detransitioned but didn't really, and they're trying to make it look like they are harming children when it couldn't be further from the truth. And gender affirming care for teenagers especially is life-saving. It reduces suicide ideology by over 4,000%. It literally wipes out, levels it out to normal suicide ideology, which in those age brackets covers maybe 3 or 4% instead of the 30 to 40% left untreated. They take hormones that non-trans people take. They're taking stuff that's been around a long time, and it doesn't chemically castrate anybody. Nobody. My own biological mom is on HRT for being postmenopausal. Almost every woman in America above 50 is on some sort of hormone program because they're postmenopausal. And when you go menopausal, it affects your endocrine system and your ability to put out certain hormones, including estrogen and testosterone. And medical care balances that out. And my mom's not transitioning, but she's on testosterone. And it's perfectly sane. It's perfectly legal. It's not unethical. And these mouth breathers, once again, don't understand medicine, whether it's abortion, birth control, hormone therapy, anything outside of, well, we know they're not medical experts when they wouldn't even wear a mask during an airborne pandemic. We should never allow them Republicans to ever write legislature on anything medical. Ever since the mask controversy and this fringe 10% of people going into Targets and throwing masks on the ground like a bunch of fucking spoiled 2-year-olds. Right then and there, we should have said, this group doesn't need to be trusted with anything, not even sharp kitchen knives. Like, these motherfuckers, you talk about a group, I don't believe in rounding people up, but I wouldn't mind a wall going up between me and those people. If I'm going to build a wall somewhere, I want to put them in a neighborhood and build a wall around that and call it a zoo. Because these idiots, these troglodytes, are so dumb. All you got to do is listen to Tim Scott or Nikki Haley talk from South Carolina. Either one of them. And the woke, trans, drag, they just sit there and it's just rinse and repeat, because obviously that's all they can memorize. That's the only rhetoric they can memorize. And because they're so stupid. But Tim Scott and Nikki Haley, a.k.a. Nimrata, her real name, and I'm going to keep dead names serve as dead name trans people.
Exactly.
Nimrata is as dumb as a fence post.
Yeah.
With that weird sounding put on of a southern accent.
Yeah.
Looks like she swallowed barbed wire or something. It sounds like a pain when she talks.
It's very performative.
It is it's like she talks like a drag queen performing Gone with the Wind.
Exactly.
My Atlanta, or Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
Either way.
Exactly.
Maybe Lindsey Graham taught her how to speak white, stupid South Carolinian or something. Anyway, we're up against our second break and we're back with some more Two Queers in a Track. Hey, y'all, we want to do a special shout out to everybody that is going to celebrate Juneteenth this coming week. We appreciate you as our neighbors, and we hope that all the communities of color have a very happy holiday and a very happy June, and we appreciate you. We see you. Love y'all. Bye.
Hey everyone, we just want to wish you a happy Pride. June is International Pride Month and we're celebrating it all month long. Also, we do want to thank those who watch us on Facebook and YouTube and the people who now listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platform. We want to thank you. Don't forget that our summer schedule is out, so we have our topics that we'll be covering in July and also in August. And just want to say happy Pride. I'll dance out. Happy Pride, everyone.
We are back, and luckily we do have some judges like Robert Hinkle that are willing to do the right thing and actually say it like it is. These fascist idiots need to be called out. It needs to be spelled out how dangerous and stupid they really are. Kudos to him for having the courage to do his job, honestly. Number 5 is pretty funny, especially because he's a Republican. Arnold Schwarzenegger called heaven a fantasy, and in a recent interview, and he said this all along. As far as I know, Arnold Schwarzenegger is predominantly an atheist, and he says, "When you die, you're gone. That's it. Yeah, there's no sequel to this life. There's no whatever. He doesn't believe in that." But I find it interesting how he doesn't get canceled by the alt-right and how they don't come after him. And I find it interesting because let's say another, celebrity or well-known progressive said that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look, woke culture is canceling heaven, and oh my God, they blah blah blah, and they hate the Bible and they hate Christians, and and all that. But what are their former governors, celebrity politicians? Arnold's kind of the one that started this whole celebrity thing, way back in the early 2000s by running and actually winning the governorship of California. And the governor is sitting there, poo-pooing one of their biggest threats to their deals. You want to obey God's word, which God's word is whatever I say God's word is, because I speak for God. I plagiarize the Bible all the time and co-opt it to my beliefs, but don't worry about that little pesky part. If you want to go to heaven, you need to hate trans people and drag queens and all this. And, it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that there's a Mormon couple out in Utah, I think, or one of the western states.
I saw that they put that pride flag that was people were making fun of because it was like as a Lutheran I should know this, but Martin Luther posted that thing on the wall on the church door.
Yeah,
okay. It was like that on the flag. It was so tiny that no person could read it unless you're actually. So people were making fun of it because it was so stupid.
The memes were endless too. Like people were putting like Sonic the Hedgehog on top of it, and different gay flags and gay stuff on it, and with that couple still standing there, but they superimposed different images on top of it. But not only was it stupid, and the wife in the whole situation that was the more outspoken of the two, is some kind of self-described homeschool teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got the perfect stereotypical
moms for liberty,
exactly, moms for tyranny, wacko. These are fringe people. These are fringe, mentally unhealthy people that A, want attention, and or B, are dipshits. They're absolutely dipshits. When a moms for tyranny person gets on TV and people start asking the hard questions, they lose it and start stuttering, because the things that Moms for Tyranny promotes is privatizing schools. But they don't want to come out and say that, so they're full of modern school segregation, aka choice. Like building more schools so just white kids can go to these private schools and be around from the black and brown kids, like we see in Mexico County.
Hey, Jen, question, and I probably should save this for the show that we're going to tape afterwards. But sure. What do you think? The Moms for Liberty people, especially where we live here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm sure it may be across the country, they've hoodwinked a couple of black and brown moms. Especially the ones who are real conservative, maybe Bible bigots, who are anti-LGBT, but they can't really be openly anti-LGBT because they're black or brown and they need our alliance with them to help them on some causes. But the Moms for Liberty,
and our money.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Think they're going to do now that they have been that the Moms for Liberty group has been labeled a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Because it is, and it's an interesting dichotomy.
You think they're going to justify it, just going, well, I don't really support them. I just want to hear what they have to say. What do you think?
I think it'd be a great question for them.
Good point. Yep.
With that one woman, is that she sat there trying to gaslight me and every answer I had. But at the end of the day, I just said, you're supporting hate. Yeah. You're supporting people that are trying to take away human rights and justifying, parental rights or this or that. And I said, personally, you're part of the problem. You're putting fuel on a fire trying to legitimize terrorists. It's terrorism. Let's call it what I say. It's Moms for Liberty is a fringe group. It's a fringe group that's no different. It's a mom's version of the Proud Boys.
Yes, exactly.
There's no difference between the Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, Moms for Liberty. If Moms for Liberty was really organized at the time of January 6th, you'd have seen Moms for Liberty people out at January 6th. It is because they're that same kind of wacko. Because Moms for Liberty origin story is the mask controversy and not wanting to put masks on kids. So they'll cut off all their oxygen and make them brain dead and all that kind of stuff, which is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, because there is neurosurgeons and heart surgeons that wear masks for 17, 18, 19 hours. There's firefighters that fight 5-alarm fires, and they wear masks for however long it takes to put the fire out, and people wear masks in different jobs, underwater welders, all kinds of things in high intensity jobs, and none of them died of brain damage. There's dental hygienists that work an 8-hour shift, cleaning people's teeth and saving them from cavities every day. And guess what? I've never seen a dental hygienist not wear a fucking mask. Because you're right in front of people's mouth hole and nose hole, leaned over there and picking on their teeth and scrubbing them down like a fucking car wash. I'm pretty sure you don't want whatever's coming out of their mouth. Not to mention it filters some of the stink out too. Just in case you have a client with maybe a little bit of chronic halitosis. But anyway, I personally, I wouldn't want to do that job. But if I did, I'd be wearing a double mask probably. The last subject is Pride merch triggers the snowflakes. It seems like more than ever this month, this Pride Month, a lot of corporations are rolling out Pride merch, even though Target's the one that's been the primary target. Kohl's has all kinds of Pride clothes, including clothes for babies and toddlers that have rainbows and ponies on them. Super cute stuff. Kleenex has now made a Disney Pride Month box of tissues. Disney, of course, has had their gay days. It's going on right now, actually, or last week it was going on with Disney. And the reason I keep saying fringe is I pulled, some of the numbers. And one of the things is, in several polls have polled us, and the numbers are pretty consistent. It's about 9 to 11 to 10% of Americans oppose LGBT human rights.
Yeah.
It's the same people that make up the bulk part of the crazy part of QAnon, Moms for Tyranny, Proud Girls, Oath Stupids.
Sure.
And anybody that thinks that January 6th was patriotic, then you're in that fringe 10%. And these 10% are the same people that were the crazy conspiracy theory uncles that you had at family reunion that end up being turned out later in life. They end up having child abuse materials and wanted always you to sit on their lap.
Exactly.
wacko preachers that are up there screaming and throwing a fit and shit in their pants and all these other wackos. And corporations are slowly just not having it. You see Disney clapping back and fighting and resisting.
North Face clapping back, Apple clapping back.
Well, North Face has
BMW clapping back.
North Face has had a contract with Patagonia, the drag queen, for years. This is going on for a long time. Patagonia does a lot of advocacy for queers going and exploring the great outdoors. Is a hiking advocate. They're not just a drag queen by profession, but they also have other advocacies just like everybody else. And because LGBT people live in all intersections of life. We all don't go to drag shows and drink mimosas and put a little pinky in it. Some of us actually, some queers actually camp. You camp every weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
and I don't even. North Face is expensive. I don't even have North Face.
Yeah, you're tighter. You're tighter than the two white guys fighting over a penny,
Exactly.
But anyway, when North Face is really high end outdoor gear, outerwear, and things like that. I had a roommate that he used to wear exclusively nothing but North Face because it was just his brand. This was like 15, 16 years ago. And I didn't even know what North Face was. So when we were rooming together, and when it got a little cooler here, he broke out his North Face jacket, and I saw the logo. And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck that is, And but I'm not into that camping, hiking gear to wear as everyday clothes. It just wasn't my thing. Still isn't. But to each their own. But I find it funny. They get pissed off at North Face. They get pissed off at specific brands that have queers representing them, or Pride, and others they give a complete free pass to.
Well, you know what they're doing. They're actually pretty smart. Not the people who are boycotted, but the people behind all this messaging. You and I talk about it all the time on both shows. Is they look at a brand and they go, okay, is this brand stock? Is this something that we can tag on to make it look like because we're doing it, this is the reason it's failing? Bud Light was already going to experience loss of market share. Target was already experiencing some challenging time. Chick-fil-A, they are outraged, but they're not going to focus on it because Chick-fil-A's a stock and it's not going to really hurt that much.
Nor did they boycott Chick-fil-A.
Exactly.
What I find funny
yeah.
is, one, Chick-fil-A's hiring policies and the founders' personal politics are way different. So Chick-fil-A as a company is always practicing diversity and inclusion. It isn't new because they hired somebody. I have never known, most Chick-fil-A's look like gay bars. You want to find some queers out in the wild? In fact, the Chick-fil-A that's over by you, I've picked up at when I do delivery work. They had, when they were driving people, pushing people for pickups exclusively through the drive-thru, they had two of the queerest gay dudes. I'm talking about, they were wearing eye makeup, ear. You didn't get on whether they were gay or not. And they just smiled when they saw me put, because obviously I'm queer looking. And there were two little twink baby gays working for the Lord's Chicken Company. But I mean, they were flaming. I mean, in fact, when I reached over the bag, they were so flaming, it actually burnt my hand a little bit. They were so flaming. I've never seen a Chick-fil-A. I've never been in a Chick-fil-A that was not only queer affirming to me and very kind to me, but also the fact that they hire a diverse staff. Like, even though where I live is predominantly white, they have a very mixed staff, of gay people, people of color, people in color management. And it's they've always practiced that. Even back in Amarillo, really big at Amarillo, one of the Chick-fil-A's literally had as many gay people working there as the local bar.
Yeah.
Picture that. The gay bar the big one there had probably more straight people working at it, especially at the door and other positions, than Chick-fil-A did. That's wild. They had a drag queen manager there. And of course, they were in regular boy clothes during the day. But it was interesting. And I think big companies have always hired gay people. They've always hired people of color, diversity.
That's how they became big companies.
Correct. Diversity of ideas made them grow. Looking at problems in different angles. Because how you would look at a problem and even how I would look at a problem. We have different from someone else, and we come from the same part of the world. And grew up very similarly, and are the same generation. But we still have different perspectives as a Latinx gay man versus a white, transgender, genderqueer, pansexual woman. You and I are still going to look at life differently for different reasons. And that's just the way it is. People are diverse. Nobody looks the same on this planet, and thank God. Thank God we don't all look like Trump. But anyway, we are at the end of the show, and we are going to head out with some more Pink music and laugh about the PGA merging with Live Golf. Hope all the Klan members and white supremacists in this country get used to a lot of brown golf. Maybe even they'll change the color of the golf ball to brown. That would be great. Right. I'm here for it. But y'all have a good week.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, man.
Bye-bye.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Two Queers in a Track. This is International Pride Month. So if you have a local event, go out and support it and hug a queer today. And anyway, have a great month.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, babe.
Happy Pride, boo.